Powered by Riverside.
Hey, welcome to Blue Jay Banner Today. It's episode 150, if you can believe that. Mike Rochon is back from the dead, and he's with me. Smiling, so he's feeling better. This is great.
Glad to be back.
Ready to go for the second best day in the world.
Right.
Hey, hit that subscribe button, the like button. It helps us out a ton. This is going to be the last non-Creighton show that we're doing here for a while. We're just obviously everybody's into the NCAA tournament after day one. Just want to mention a couple quick things that the men are baseball is down in Coral Gables taking on the University of Miami. So that ought to be interesting to watch. I don't see that anywhere where they're going to have television coverage, though. That's a little disappointing. But at any rate, so follow them along. They play 2 night games and then 1 noon start on Sunday. So just wanted to mention that. Monday we'll be back and break down everything gone on the weekend and talk a little Creighton hoops, talk a little Crown, and we'll be talking Crown throughout the week. So, all right. What did you think of day one?
You know, I'll be 100% honest. I wasn't feeling that great, so I slept. I slept through the morning action, so I did not see the national championship win by Nebraska. At least that's what I heard. I don't know.
Very much so.
I heard that they won the national championship. I don't know. I could be wrong. No, I was up. I did get to see the High Point Wisconsin game. That was outstanding. I mean, you know, it was cool just because, or it was fun to watch just because, like, at the end there, I don't think like either team was really playing any defense. Like they were just getting to the basket, doing what they wanted. And then, you know, obviously High Point did come up with a defensive stop there at the end to win it. But yeah, that was just fun to watch. That coach was intense afterwards in his interview. Wow.
Yeah. A little different than us.
Right.
So, you know, you understand the dynamic between the two now. All right. Yeah. Back to Nebraska. Like I mentioned this to somebody yesterday, and I don't know if it fell flat. I couldn't really verbalize it, but I guess somewhat Creighton's this way a little bit too, but they just seem to be so wrapped up in attendance.
Yeah.
In everything. Like,
yep.
Like Sean Callahan. I mean, if you're going to say there was one media guy, you would say Sean Callahan that covers Oscars, right? He tweets out something about, well, I talked to this guy next to me who's from Nashville. He's been to a lot of these, and he said this is the biggest home crowd he's ever seen at a game. And I'm like, okay. It's not shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, and like a bunch of people piled on Twitter, like, well, apparently you've never been to Kansas City when Kansas plays there. Because,
right.
I mean, when Kansas was here, it was a huge home crowd.
Yeah, when Kansas was here. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know, and another guy goes, well, I just watched a game last night in Ohio where Miami of Ohio took over the whole arena. Like, so, it's just great turnout. Nobody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I knew tons of people that were going, so it didn't shock me at all. But, the sports bar I was at was, had a lot of experience. And they're just going nuts when it's 70-40, you know. It's just like somebody goes, oh, this just reminds everybody of the good old days when they'd win football games 58-0. So but good for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Impressive because slow start and then whomped them. So which did not always happen. Duke struggled.
Oh yeah. Duke struggled big time.
Michigan kind of struggled for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I was the Arkansas game. I don't know how much you caught of that. They had 22 dunks in that game. Arkansas did. And I was like, didn't Creighton have 22 dunks all year?
No.
Right. Like that's crazy.
Then there were some other games where I thought, there could be a hint, like you mentioned Arkansas, and then also like Michigan State. They just blew their opponents out.
Yeah, Michigan State was very impressive. That was, there's you never know, those games. North Dakota State coming in has played teams tough in the past, and Michigan State had nothing to do with that.
South Florida.
Jeez.
They were down 22 with 9 minutes left. People were going to the windows and cashing their tickets over at Mirror Star, and they somehow, Louisville, being Louisville, blew that lead.
Yeah,
almost entirely, and but did
know.
hang on to win.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to today. First, I just want to say, hey, shout outs to all our great sponsors, Infusion Brewing Company, Vino Moss, and RTI Threads. They've been with us all through all this whole time here with Blue Jay Banner today, and they will continue to be with us, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much. All right, today's action. So let's get to we got an early window here. We've got Santa Clara, Kentucky, Akron, Texas Tech, LIU in Arizona, and Wright State in Virginia. Anything trip your trigger there on those four?
Yeah, I think the first two are intriguing.
Yeah.
The Kentucky, you never know what Kentucky team is going to show up. I know Creighton, with some of their NIL deals and stuff like that, some of the fans, but like you want to look at a roster that's built $20+ million that Kentucky has, like to be a 7 seed. That one's very intriguing. The Texas Tech Akron one is also an intriguing matchup. Just with Texas Tech losing, Toppin, they've played enough games without him, but still, such a good player. That Toppin is, going into a tournament, NCAA tournament, one and done, missing a player of his caliber. You just never know, what's going to happen in that one.
Yeah. So we had, by the way, I got to go back and be remiss here. VCU, North Carolina. What a game.
Right.
VCU coming back from nowhere to win that one. So yeah. I was saying, like, going into yesterday, the two upset games were South Florida and VCU. South Florida eventually made it a game. VCU won that one. So kind of like, and the other one was Texas BYU that people were taking in. Texas won that. So 2 out of 3 hit.
Yeah.
The other minor one that I listed yesterday that I thought would go through was Texas A&M St. Mary's, and A&M hit. So really 3 of the 4 biggest upset games on the board. Well, High Point too. High Point people thought that one. So really 4 of the 5 biggest upset games happened. So
right.
So they kind of can look at that today with, some people have gone with Santa Clara over Kentucky.
Oh yeah. Yep.
A lot of people have gone with Akron over Texas Tech. And so those are 2. I've got that Wright State. I don't know why. I'm just not sold on Virginia. So we'll see. The 3s did very well yesterday for the most part.
Yeah.
They took care of business. So
Virginia's an interesting team. You watch them throughout the year, and you're just kind of like, I don't know how this team is winning as much as they are. I mean, they had to be the least talked about, like 4-loss team in the country that's not a mid-major. So you never know how those teams always seem to not do well in the NCAA tournament. So
yeah, I think from a point spread perspective, I think that Akron getting 7.5 seems like a nice number to take. Okay, then we move on to the next section. We have Tennessee State, Iowa State, Hofstra, Alabama, Utah State, Villanova, and another dreaded 11-6 matchup, Miami and Tennessee. I think Iowa State, even though some of these highly ranked teams struggle a little bit, I think they're going to bomb Tennessee State, because really, Tennessee State's more of a 16 seed than a 15. They just got floated up because there was upsets. So they're not very good.
Right.
Hofstra and Alabama is interesting. People are going to see what's going to happen with Alabama without their second leading scorer.
Yeah.
And then Utah State, Villanova is a coin flip. Most people have picked Utah State.
Yep.
And then I don't know, the Miami here's another one that's a little as far as from a point spread perspective, 10.5 seems high of Miami.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole arena will be cheering for them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just think, it was one of those things you saw a lot after the first 4 matchup that, it was almost people were surprised at Miami of Ohio, and they're like, I mean, they were 31-1, so like they're they're it's a decent basketball team, borderline good team. They're going to come in again probably with the chip on their shoulder.
Firing 43s.
Yeah, exactly, and if they're knocking them down, you can beat anybody. So, it'll be very interesting. Yes, but you're right. Everybody is going to be, a big Red Hawks fan.
Yeah, and
So,
it'll be interesting to see how a veteran coach like Rick Barnes handles this and how their
yep,
defense is set up. So that it
yep.
could kind of throw a kink into winning. Who'd you pick? You picked Utah State in that Villanova game, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So they're actually 1.5 point favorites. So, all right. Then add the nighttime action. These are kind of some games that I think we have a lot of local interest in.
Yeah.
Iowa, Clemson, Northern Iowa, St. John's, Central Florida, UCLA, Queens plays Purdue, Prairie View A&M plays Florida, and then Cal Baptist and Kansas, Furman and UConn, and then Missouri and Miami. Which ones stick out to you there?
You know, uh, and this is probably going against what I picked. I picked St. John's to go to the Final Four. It's still an interesting matchup. When you have a coach the caliber of Ben Jacobson, it's just an interesting matchup. And we've all seen St. John's enough to know that they can miss. If they're not shooting the ball well.
Yeah.
Now, I will say athletically they will blow Northern Iowa away. But it's an interesting matchup to see kind of different styles of play, to see kind of which one takes over. And then the Central Florida UCLA matchup, 7-10. Those are always intriguing matchups, because these teams are so close, in seed lines that, it's an interesting matchup. Or UCLA, you don't know how healthy they are. I haven't seen anything on the health of that team. I know, Dent missed most of that, the semifinal game.
They're
So if
supposed
he's,
to be healthy, but I don't,
yeah, if he's not healthy, UCLA is not even close to,
right.
the same team. So,
All right. So if first, let's start with if you had, 1 or 2 game, a 6 seed or below today that's gonna win, that you would stake your life on, which would that be?
let's see. Uh, I don't know. I mean, the nines, that's not as
Utah
fun.
State. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
Utah
legit
State.
pick there. That's
Yeah,
a good pick, actually.
yeah.
Utah State. Iowa I'd probably go. I just stake my life on it. I'm torn. I have 2. Yeah, there's 3 actually. I got 3. I got like Clemson, Iowa. I think everybody's picking Iowa. I think Clemson's going to win that game. Clemson's got a lot of talent.
Yep.
Missouri beating Miami would be the other one, and then UCF, UCLA. But I would be more apt to go with the Missouri or the Clemson game.
Yeah. The Missouri, just, being the game being in St. Louis, that's,
Yeah.
that one was right there. That and the Utah State one, the Missouri, as well. So,
And the point spread game, I love. I love this one. St. John's minus 9.5. I think it's Northern Iowa's going to struggle getting the ball across half court. Seriously.
yeah. Yep.
Like, I think their bigs are pretty good. Like, they could
Right.
cause, like, Hopkins some problems, but their guards are nice, but they're not very good ball handlers. I mean,
No, like if you
they've
watched any
not
of the
seen pressure
Valley,
like this.
yeah, if you watched any of the Valley tournament, when they played in that championship game against Bradley, and Bradley started to pressure a little bit, Northern Iowa struggled big time. So, that'll be, and again, Northern Iowa doesn't have guys that can replicate what St. John's will do in practice. So I don't know how, Northern Iowa is not going to be able to. It'll take them a while to get used to the speed of the game. So, the way St. John's has jumped out on people, especially in the Big East tournament, not trailing for a single second in the Big East tournament.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the things, if St. John's jumps out 10, 12-0 in that game, it'll be tough for Northern Iowa to come back.
The other one I mentioned earlier were Akron 7.5. That seems like a nice number to put in your pocket. And I kind of like Kansas to romp tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is Cal Baptist's first ever appearance. Usually those teams don't do very well, but yeah. And the other one obviously would be Central Florida getting 5.5. Even if they don't win, that seems like a hefty number. But,
yeah.
All right. So anyway, games kick off here in just a few hours. So we better get going.
Right.
Get our affairs in order for another wonderful day.
Oh yeah.
All right, Mike. Thanks. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And as I said, we'll get back to Jay's coverage next week.
Sounds good. Go Jays.